So March has sprung into action with this great boost of energy that most of us on the awakening journey who have an element of consciousness that there are things going on energetically and are people that are aware that they are like little seeds of love blossoming on some level, despite prior challenges and difficulties, are on, I would want to say, like, I'll just call it the ascension bandwagon, if you like, right now. Really just meaning on the train. So it feels like the train is moving forward, full steam ahead, and it's like, I want to say, all on board, just like the Polar Express, all on board. And actually, it's funny that the Polar Express just came up now because it reminds me of the conductor punching holes into the children's tickets. And if you've seen this lovely children's Christmas movie, and typing words like believe, lead, and lead is a big word right now, okay? So either you are leading yourself, you are in charge of your destiny. It's time for you now to become a leader of your life rather than a follower of the energies in a more hardship way. So it's turning from hardship and difficulty to the light train, the speed train of light, which is sort of not just coming through, but almost barging through, always gently though, not in a negative way this time, but like just barging through, moving through, bursting through all old paradigms in your life. So it's like anything that was relevant to you before that is no longer vibrating with you is like left in the dust. You're like picking up the pieces, brushing off your hands, and it's like, nah, I've had enough. It's time to move on. I'm a new person now. So there has been the reset. So it's very interesting. It feels like jumping timelines, grand shifts, energy shifts, changes. I mean, a lot of us intuitives, we're feeling this much energy coming up, right? And it seems to me that it's been several years now where the turn of the new year has been intensely, insanely difficult. Of course, there's always those moments of, oh, it's a new year and things are good, but there's been a lot of challenges. There's been a lot of eclipse energy that's just sort of downcasting the spirits of people universally, whether conscious or unconscious or semi-conscious or whatever version you'd like to say. So at this point, we have the upcoming equinox on the 22nd. We also have a massive planetary alignment on that day too. I'll talk more on that later or next time. But it's like this bullet train, the Shinkansen, the fastest train in the world. It's just beyond that. It's rocketing forward, just like the leap day energy that I discussed in a separate video. We're bouncing forward, we're jumping right through, bursting through. So it's your choice to get on this train, okay? If you're already on the train, great, enjoy the view, enjoy the ride, and go for it, because this is now about alignment, realigning. So if you're derailed, realign back on track to you. It's your train. And of course, your mummies out there, put your kids on board, whatever. Take your loved ones with you or rise ahead. You can also be on your own train while other loved ones around you perhaps not quite ready yet or need to be sort of carted along, or they're on their own tracks. It's all good. So long as you keep in alignment with yourself, you'll find that it's like other timelines that are less aligned will collapse and away and out into oblivion. And you can, by just following your lead, being your own leader, believing in yourself, guiding your train, miracles can occur where others around you will just sort of end up hopping on board or be like, oh, how did I suddenly get on this train? I thought I was going on this other train and now I'm on this friggin' awesome train. And like, it's so great. The light is blinding that I'm not hungry. I'm not thinking about food. I'm not thinking about material things and other things that have been bothering me for like weeks and months, because I'm now on this train and the blinding light is just like I'm in it, just like when you arrive in heaven or have a near-death experience, you have this light. And I want to say, people say blinding light, but you don't feel blind. You see more than you've ever seen. Even if you would just think with your physical eyes, you're just seeing white. The idea is that you're using your unseen eye. What we call the third eye is very, very amplified right now, and your spiritual visions are heightened. It's been several weeks now of this heightening. It's been ramping up, and right now it's, it's like pretty strong, high vibrational energy, and you are sensing, perceiving, your intuition is skyrocketing. Your dreams are just out of this world. So many dreams, and it doesn't matter. Some people have great dreams, some bad dreams. A lot of people, it's just a mix-up of things. Why? Because you are processing things. Your subconscious is working overtime, and it's helping you because your physical body otherwise, which has gone through stresses and strains, and I know last week I was drained for about a week ago for about 5 days in a row. I'm talking full-on drained, like the heaviest battery, just terrible, right? Drained. And, that was because of the energies of that time and what we needed to go through. There was actually a lot of light coming in. It was around the time of the leap day, a little bit before and after, or in the week after that. And it's like we needed to we were absorbing the light, and then all of our crap stuff, right? All our shit, whatever you want to call it, all the gunk was just like leaving our bodies, but there was a sort of a contradiction between the fast energy coming in and our slower, denser human energy and that of Earth. So that time was needed, and your physicality suffered, possibly also mentally and emotionally, but we're all one big parcel, don't we? We come with these parts. And really what we're coming into now is more of a sense of wholeness, and leading our way. Now, when I talk about that word lead, the reason why I've just been saying it so far in the way of sort of leading yourself, what I mean is not everyone resonates with being a leader. Some people run a mile if I say, you're being, guided to become a leader right now. A lot of people would freak out at that, or maybe not resonate because they're maybe not a leader type. You can actually be so not a leader type, like myself, and very introverted, yet be guided to lead, have an urge to lead in some way. And it doesn't mean you're above anybody, doesn't mean anything. It just means you're showing by example in some way, or that you're leading through your knowing, through your expertise, through your talents, through your nature, whatever it may be. So there's a sense of leadership, whether it's just of yourself and then others will follow, or there's a ripple effect, or directing through other people, literally, consciously. Some people might even be not doing it consciously, but they're just, without realizing it, going with the flow of where things are going. So it finally feels like things are freer, like, more sense of feeling of contentment, whereas before it would have been more stress. Now, it's not to say that everything's, oh my God, in perfection. And, I don't believe in the word perfect anyway, but, yes, there'll be ups and downs. It's normal too. And also because of the high energy, the dark always, I've said it so many times, sometimes there's a pullback. So what I really like to talk about now is the corona chaos, the crazy corona thing. Now, yes, okay, take all practical precautions, do all the normal. I won't go too much into detail because I'm not interested, to be honest, in that as a topic. Really, it's just that obviously it's affecting us, if not directly, then very much indirectly, a lot of us in a lot of different countries around the world, okay? So take all normal precautions, just buy get all the normal stuff that you need, and if you can, get a little bit more of stuff like whatever. Obviously in Australia we've had these, I talked about it on Facebook, but people are just going crazy here in Melbourne, even though at that point we really didn't have any cases of corona, and just everywhere, a few nutcases went and bought just loads and loads of toilet paper and spoiled it for everybody else. So the shelves are empty of toilet paper now. It's a massive crisis here and in other places as well. And people fighting in supermarkets, there's videos of brawls. It's just ridiculous. So, I wasn't interested in kind of getting into any of that energy, and I was stepping out of it. Obviously, I've told my children, be safe, wash your hands, just normal things, a little bit more like extra caution on hygiene, and then move on with it, rise above. That's really the feeling I'm receiving. I know some of you be more directly involved, or like hearing of cases closer to you, or if you're, for example, I have a friend in Seattle and that's sort of been declared an emergency state over there, and it's closed, things like schools closing down and all that. So obviously, yes, that's a little bit more of a different situation. Then you just, use your common sense, do the best that you can, but try not to buy into the fear. So the interesting thing about the energies at present is that I'm getting really strong messages to not buy into the fear, and that this is an example of you have a choice, because the light is here so strong, to bypass, okay, to jump over the hurdle, to choose to go to / stay in / be in a higher energy that's here for us, the higher frequency state of being, and to override the lower energies. Now, this is not just in terms of corona, but also the collective energy of all the fear out there. And I will say it, 100%, 110% do I believe this is not being created naturally. I believe it is, whatever you want to call it, something like made in a lab or made from outside sources of, it all comes down to people in power at the end of the day. I truly do believe that. And, I don't choose to buy into the energy. I think the timing, look at the timing. Come on, we've got this. This is like a high energy period. We've got a massive, what's interesting? I was about to say political alignments. Isn't that interesting? My accidental words are by no mistake ever. The angels have shown me this. I meant to say planetary alignments, political alignments, right? So it's all connected. Politics, planets. It's all energy. They know what they're doing. There are people in power who use energy. They use higher knowledge for their, just say it, for evil, okay? For service to self only, not service for others. They don't care. They want people to die. I do believe that. Okay, so moving on from that, I'm not going to fall into all of that fear, right? So this is an interesting case of when the angels say you can choose, you have the power to choose. And yes, all the time we have the power of choice, right? We can be like, do we go left? Do we go right? Do I choose to get, okay, so I'll give an example at the supermarket when the first time I went, not knowing that there was this crazy thing of people buying up stuff from supermarket supplies and freaking out for no reason. So I went to the supermarket, and the first thing I noticed is, where's all the pasta? So I'm standing there, where's all the pasta? And then I thought for a moment, oh God, I hope this is not the corona thing. And then I asked the packer guy, and he didn't want to tell me anything. He was so drained, and he was really negative for a worker. And he said, I've been telling people all day, I just don't want to talk about it anymore. But he said it in a way as in a bit rude, right, for customer service. And so I got it, but I was in a bit of a stroppy mood myself. So I was like, no, I want to know where the pasta is. So I'm going to ask. I said, can you tell me what's going on? He refused to tell me. So at that point, got a bit mad. I'm like, shall I ask you or shall I ask the manager? So anyway, one of those moments, right? So anyway, I walked off, and next aisle, there's no flour, there's no sugar, there's no oil, there's no vinegar, there's no toilet paper, there's no tissues. Panadol is way down. There's just a few boxes left. There was a few ones like that. Nappies, sanitary pads. And I'm like, oh my FG, like what the H is happening here? I was in shock, and not in a lower energy collective fair shock, but in a what is wrong with people? So I had several conversations of strangers, normal people in the supermarket, and we're all agreeing people are nuts. People have lost the plot. They've gone mad. It's like it's in a zombie apocalypse, Armageddon type movie. It's just ridiculous, okay? So we weren't in a situation where we were actually in a crisis here in Melbourne or Sydney and other cities where this is happening. But certain people were still acting like in a state of, honestly, hysteria. It's absolutely, I've never seen anything like it. It was almost a comedy. And so I'm standing there with another person at the supermarket who was like I think he was a road worker. And we were talking about it. And then he was laughing and he goes, "Oh, look, mate, all you can do is laugh, right? The Aussie way." And I was like, yeah, no, you're right. And we had a good laugh together at the ridiculousness of the whole thing. And unfortunately, what happened is that hysteria, the fear energy, created a crisis actually in terms of not an actual real emergency traumatic medical crisis, but a hysterical, chaotic, scarcity crisis where suddenly now there are people, hundreds, maybe thousands actually of people who don't have toilet paper right now or in the last week or so. And it's just ridiculous. Now, I've heard firsthand stories of like an old lady that I know who is old, unwell, has had back surgery, etc., just went to the supermarket and she doesn't even drive that much to get toilet paper. Just innocently, we all run out of toilet paper, it happens. She couldn't get one roll. And I stood there, I couldn't get one roll. And I was like, oh my God, what am I to do? I've heard of people crying and desperate, like for a week they can't get toilet paper, they don't know what to do. Okay, so outside of, yes, we can use our logical minds and, I don't know, there's other things we could use or leaves if we have to and so on. But it's to the point where the whole aisle is bare. You cannot even get tissues or handy towels. You can't even get the handy towels that you use, those massive kitchen paper towels. Nothing. Nappies was another one, if I didn't mention that before. So we have people who cannot put disposable nappies on their babies. And yes, okay, they can use material now. So, we can adjust, we can survive, but, it's not fun and it's unnecessary. It is so unnecessary that a few spoil it for everybody else. So now you have normal people that are just who aren't that way inclined and just turn up to do their normal groceries and they can't get toilet paper, or, flour and other essential items. And it's just a joke. Now they're driving around for hours, going to every single supermarket. Some are going to the same supermarket every single day and they're not getting any. The supermarkets have now said they're going to issue 1 pack per customer. However, they're acting as if they have that amount of toilet paper and they don't, because people are still going and there's nothing. So anyway, moving beyond that, right? See how when I'm speaking this and when you hear it, you start to feel a bit of that lower frequency energy, right? Do you detect the difference? Do you detect the difference between that and when I first started speaking, when I'm talking about the train and the higher energy, right? So let's do this now. I'm going to train you. The angels are funny. They're saying it's also no mistake I said train, because train as in the vehicle and train as in teaching, learning. So train you that you can step on the train, right? The fast train, the high train. Because we don't want to be on the, oh God, there's no toilet paper, everything's gone crazy train and go down that spiral, okay? So notice the difference in energy. That's the first step. See that difference, okay? So now let's rise up, okay? So I'm just going to do that now. Just going to bring in, and the angels have been wanting to do this, so before I made this recording, it's already been guided, but okay. So let's bring in that higher energy. And it's going to dissolve and dissipate any lower energy. If you need to, release whatever you need to let go. Just feel like it's melting away, dissolving. The word I'm feeling is dissolving. All right, let's get in tune with that higher energy. Feel yourself opening, expanding, receiving. And so it is. So we're moving from breakdown to breakthroughs. Have you been receiving breakthroughs of information? Downloads, what we call downloads in the spiritual world is like you can just get, it can be as simple as, an inspiration from nowhere, like a little light bulb went on in your head and you had an idea or you felt inspired, right? Or a problem was solved, or, an answer to a situation, or intuitive information. On a higher scale, a download can be like massive influx of energy and information. Remember, light is information also. So strong light, strong information signals. And that's why being on the higher train, being on board it, is important. So as I'm speaking still, the energies are still processing. We're not quite 100% there, so definitely feeling that. So just allow it to process as it needs to without dwelling on things, okay? So when we dwell on things, we get brought down. When we're around people who are dwelling on that kind of lower energy stuff or getting, going on too much about the chaos of this or that and politics and this, health situation and this and that, just rise above. That's all I can say right now. And what I was trying to say earlier is sometimes a lot of the time we do need to move through the darkness and work on our shadows and have the stuff inside us that is hard to deal with be brought up to the surface to deal with. But the angels are saying very, very strongly, this is the time, choose the high road, choose the high road. Don't dwell in the shadows right now. It's not a time for that, okay? Process whatever you need to and speedily move along, okay? It's like you're losing old parts of yourself or old connections with other people, old ways of being, older parts of you that were the way you operated, the way you were with other people, what you looked for in relationships with other people, whether they're friendships or whatever, and in the work sphere. And that is they're showing me now a picture of those movies where they end up being a scary thriller where people innocently think they're going to play a game where a group of them go to a place and they have to open doors and work out puzzles. Those movies? I can't think of a name of it. There's a few of them that I've watched. And it ends up being terrible and they end up, getting murdered and stuff. But anyway, the angels are showing me now an object that's spinning around like a cube, like a hexagon or something like that, like a difficult shape, and it's spinning around and it's giving me the sense of I'm hearing those clicky noises like when like those little devices, I don't know if they're compasses or little special puzzle boxes that make clicky sounds like a Rubik's Cube, right? And you got to work out the puzzle, and it's spinning, and I'm sort of seeing a golden colour. So it's showing me that things are processing, and it's a matter of, who holds the lock and key. Don't think of it as other people, but you hold your own lock and your own key, right? So keep what's safe and sacred to you for yourself. And know that higher things are happening. You turn the key when you want to, but don't allow yourself to hesitate or sort of go backwards out of fear of not succeeding or whatever it may be. It's time to bravely move forward and follow your calling. For a lot of people, it will feel like things are finally coming together for them, right? Or they're clicking, they're finally being who they want to be or doing what they want to do, or whether it's for a lot of us to, business-wise, but it just depends on where you're at. So follow the clues, lots of signs, lots of synchronicities, and just keep moving forward. That puzzle is going to keep recalibrating and re-clicking as things fall into place. So that's the feeling I get from that. And if you receive any of your own messages or associations from that or anything else I've said, you follow those. Follow the flow of your own intuition. It's all about you and you rising, stepping ahead and enjoying the ride, but in a way that is more evolved, wiser and true.